been through a lot of controversy lately. And I mean, when I say controversy, bro, like, I've never seen WWE being covered by The Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, The Neighborhood Talk, TMZ, the biggest platforms within black culture. When I see a product, because WWE is like not black culture, but some of the biggest platforms have been covering them because of different controversy. And one of those have been, this never has necessarily has not been in the news. We're gonna get to the other side later. But Sasha Banks and Naomi, former WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the first black women's tag team champions, two phenomenal women, two amazing stars, recently walked out of WWE. What was your thoughts on the whole thing?
My initial thought was like, was it a work? Right.
Correct.
I was like, was it part of the storyline? Like, is it like fake? You know,
because it's like a
storyline,
right?
But as time went on, I'm like, yo, no, this is real, and everyone's saying it's a work. Like, what they may do is turn it into a work. So like, where they like, oh.
Once they work out that shit, they are gonna do that.
Like it was a shoot, right? It was a shoot. So the work is something that's like more written, fake, and then shoot is something that's like realistic. But like for me, I thought it was a work, but it ended up being a shoot. And for me, I was happy for him. I was proud of him because one, Naomi been in the company for over 10 years, and I feel like it wasn't until recently where she really was getting that push. And then going into the tag team thing, I was like, I'm tired of them just pairing random women's wrestlers with each other, right? But Sasha and Naomi actually does.
It makes sense. It's full circle. They were already a former tag team before, so it made sense.
And so I was all for it. And I was like, finally, with their momentum, they're finally going to give the women's tag team roles like a chance, like really like shine. And the truth be told, women's titles have been the joke since day one. While I love Bayley and Sasha, like anytime Sasha has the titles, it becomes a focus. It's when it's not on Sasha, then it's not a focus. So every time that Sasha had it 3 times are the only times women's championships have got some type of focus. And so for me, I feel like.
By the way, Sasha Banks is Ray J, Brandy, and Snoop Dogg's cousins, for those of you guys that don't know.
Yeah. And then Sasha Banks, as big as of a star she is always used to put other people over. She's always used to put over Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky. Like, it's like, people always say, yeah, low, but she got hella titles. Yeah, but she had it for like 2 days.
So she has a horrible record now.
A horrible women's title record.
Not really. Every time she defends her title, she loses it.
WrestleMania for like 7 WrestleMania straight. That's her
stigma. She loses every time she defends. She's a great. We love her. She's great. She's a Hollywood superstar, low key. She's just as great as Montez and The Rock and everybody named before. She could be a big star outside of it. You know what I mean? And she's so popular. Fans love her. Kids love her. But when it comes to that, like she's just not pushed like the number. She should be. To me, she should be at least number 1, number 2.
She should be number 1, number 2.
But she's not.
And then on top of that, the biggest issue I have is that they make it seem like Sasha Banks is the problem. Like she's like this angry black woman. And she's not an angry black woman.
She's not.
She's tired of being slighted. Like
she should be the star.
She should be a big star.
We have a whole wrestling group on Facebook. Shout out to you for inviting me. I love that group. It's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
they're a fucking mess.
It's amazing. I just be watching this shit.
Black World Order, okay?
Black World. It's a whole group of black people, because I think it's female. There's women in there too, that love wrestling on Facebook. And Antoine, I want to call you Ed. I don't give you.
I don't know. Doesn't call me Ant, okay?
Do I call you Anthony? Are people? Because like I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say like black people enjoying wrestling is like taboo, but I feel like it's like not a thing.
I know. Why is that? Why do you think?
I don't know. Like I feel like it's not cool, but I guess it don't matter. Cause I mean, if you're like nerdy, quote unquote, and you like certain things, and you're kind of into things of that nature. But like I don't know. I started like really like leaning into this is a part of who I am. Like, and for me, it's like literally my getaway, my escape to watch wrestling. And a lot of our friends, I know I got friends that are here now. They're like, I haven't watched wrestling in years. I don't give a fuck about that shit. You know, I have talk to people. They're like, they always go back to like, yeah, I used to watch it back in, you know, whatever. And I stopped watching it once I realized it was fake. That's what they always say. And here's my thing. Here's my thing with it. I never watched wrestling because of the wrestling. It was cool. It's amazing. I loved it because of the storylines.
Boom.
How can you build a character? How can you build a storyline? How can you even believe what you're saying? Like how can are you playing on my emotion? Are you pulling my heartstrings? And they've done that every year. When you're able to do those things, like I'm into it. I believe what's going on. You know what I mean? I know what's going on. Obviously, we know there's too many spoilers and things everywhere, so you kind of know what's happening before it happens. But I want to see how you tell the story. Can you tell the story? If that was going to happen, if you have this big vision where one day The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to fight at WrestleMania.
Which we know.
Right, we all know that. We're waiting for it. How are you going to tell us? How are we going to get to that point? We don't know. It's a whole 2, 3, it's been in the making for years, right? So it's like you have all this time to build up to it. And one era for real wrestling fans like us can make it like, I wish you didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I wish you didn't do that. How else could you have done it? You know what I mean? Like, you have to do it correctly to make it really work.
There's one person that I really see. I'm like, yo, if they really push this guy, he can be the superstar of this generation, and that is Montez Ford. I think Montez, he has a good look. He's a great wrestler. He has the charisma. He has every single making to be a star, and he has that mainstream appeal.
And one of the best frog splashes the industry's ever seen.
It is. And in due time, it will be number one. And in addition, the biggest thing about Montez Ford is that
he's fucking amazing.
That is definitely the one. But what I'm trying to say is he has
great.
that, the mainstream
Montez Ford is that nigga.
He has the mainstream appeal
to
not only appeal to the white audience, but the black people are going to eat him up. Imagine him being in a rap video. Imagine him being on BT. Imagine him being in all the black award shows. Montez and being on MTV at the same time. Montez has what it takes to be a star. And after he does his wrestling career, I think he's going to eat Hollywood up.
Montez is a phenomenal guy.
And if they don't push Montez forward, racism.
And I'm boycotting WWE. I'm not watching it ever again. I promise you. If he don't win at least 3 world titles, I'm leaving.
He has it. But that being said, as much as I love Montez Ford, I actually see it for Dawkins as well. I think Dawkins has potential as well. Because Dawkins is actually the big guy that Vince likes.
So I've been having struggles with Dawkins, but I also been seeing a lot of push for Dawkins lately. I've been seeing a lot of
the tag match between the Usos.
Yes,
they showed Dawkins out, and
he had a solo match. I've never really seen him in a solo match. On Friday, he had a solo match against one of the Usos. He won, but it was controversial. Whatever.
He did a good job.
And yeah, I got this video I got to see on YouTube that I watched, and it was like how the Street Profits should break up.
I don't want them to break up. I want them to split up.
Right.
It's a difference. I want them to go different brands and then do their thing.
Within the writing, he's mentioned storylines. One man has had a lot of control over that era and what it means. The boss, the former chairman, the former CEO of WWE.
These are the quotations.
Now,
and also rabbit ears.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon, VKM, Vince McMahon. As we all know, if you're not a wrestling fan, at least you know about Vince McMahon. Recently, he got caught up in a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
And supposedly he paid a lot of money for some allegations. He's one of the latest celebrities, billionaires, millionaires that got caught up in a scandal of paying some of his former employees because of certain allegations. I never thought I would see WWE in this light. Seeing them in his headlines made me feel uneasy. Not in a weird way or bad way. I just never thought I would see them like in this light. How did you feel when the story first dropped? And how do you feel now as more stuff keeps coming out in regards to Vince McMahon and his allegations? What this means for the future of the World Wrestling Entertainment?
One thing I've noticed that Vince did is he said he doesn't like to be thanked.
Doesn't.
Why is that? I'm going to assume that you've done some shit in the past that you don't feel good about.
So now Stephanie McMahon, his daughter,
who I love. Absolutely love.
As much as I love Charlotte Flair, y'all heard me talk. I love Stephanie McMahon. And I'm looking at both camps. I want y'all to know how much I love.
Doing it, I love Stephanie McMahon too. I think she's great.
Stephanie, I love you, and I'm glad you finally. In regard, it hates to be in this light, but now that Stephanie is the official chairwoman of the World Wrestling Entertainment, quotation, he's gonna keep doing that, and the CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, I love that. What do you think this means for the future of it? Do you think they're gonna overcome this?
I don't know the behind the scenes politics of WWE, but I love Stephanie McMahon. And I hope that her being more involved, because she actually has just stepped down from a position, and now she's stepping up to a bigger one. I hope that her involvement is good. I know that because of her, women's wrestling became even bigger than what it is. Like, give her credit for that. I think Stephanie's also give her credit for even back then with Trish and Lita, that era as well. Like, Stephanie was a big part of it. She was a part. They were the trio. Like, they were the three, like the top three. And I just hope that her involvement for real, and it's not just some label shit. I hope that it helps the company.